How we doing, everybody? Take these earphones off for a minute. Just want to touch base with y'all on something here. A lot of people tell you to go forward. That's good. Always consider moving forward. But forward is not everybody's best decision. Moving forward could sometimes be the worst thing you can do. Right? But this could all be the same thing, just depending on how you look at it. But what I learned is that what you learn to call stuff would determine how you deal with it. How you see things would determine what you call it, too. So you got to see things for what they are, know what to call it, and then deal with it accordingly. Some things ain't gonna always be easy to get around to dealing with accordingly as far as how we might want to do it. Now, we don't always know the options we have, the path we can take. But right here in this time in our life, especially for the church, especially for those who God has called and saved and justified and forgiven, man, we got a lot of work on our plate, a lot of warfare in our life, a lot of stuff that we go through that really just make the work we gotta do borderline impossible. But with God, all things are possible. And I was sitting there thinking to myself today, and I looked at some of the moves that I've made in my life before, and sometimes, and a lot of times, you really do need to go backward, right? Go backward in order to prevent being left behind. This could be a 2, 3, maybe 4-fold message here. Sometimes you need to go backwards in order to prevent being left behind. Left behind according to what you say. The rapture, something like that? Not necessarily. See, topics like the rapture and things of that nature, I see those differently than what people have been teaching about it all these years. I look at what's in my Bible. I don't look at how many books somebody sold. I look at what's in my Bible. I don't look at how many followers somebody got. I look at what's in my Bible first and foremost. You can have 1 million YouTube views or a large mega church and still teach the wrong thing. You can have 1 million people saying, "Oh yes, amen. I know that's true, brother." And it's still wrong. It's 2 left shoes according to what you see right there in your Bible. Most people believe lies. That's the first thing you need to know. Most people believe lies. All right. But a lot of times you need to go backwards. Life will always meet you with a fork in the road. And sometimes you can take the wrong path. And before you realize you on the wrong path, there is no way forward that could get you on the right path from there. You just need to go back. I do a lot of hiking. I've seen how this work. Sometimes forward is just too far in the wrong direction. You already went too far in the wrong direction. You really need to consider going backward. Go backward. I was just recently touching up on some of the things that I used to study before I got saved. And after I got saved, I let go of a lot of the things that I used to study. Not that they were evil or anything. It just, it just wasn't studying about God. And I think a lot of Christians make this mistake. I think a lot of times Christians can find themselves in a bad position in life or in multiple bad positions because we get so eager to just learn about God to where we forget all of the other principles to life that also do matter. All of the things you know, all the survival skills you once had. Like, we can just throw it all away for the sake of Christ. It's like, yes, that's great. But there's a reason why the Bible say that the children of this world is wiser in their generation. Why are the children of this world wiser in their generation? Because they actually do the studying about the things that they involved in. But like, when it come to us, we got too many principles to balance, right? I like to study things about human nature, psychology. I like to really look deep into what make people work the way they do. I'm sure you can hear that I'm that kind of person just by the stuff that I say, right? I'm so deep into just being very observant to where I know that about myself. I'm like, you sound like you're that kind of person. Like, just listening to how you talk, you sound like you just study human nature all the time. Like, you can't hide that from nobody. It come out of your mouth, right? Like, you pay attention to everything, don't you? I wish I did. I wish I did. Like, some of the YouTube channels I listen to, if I listen to them long enough, I can pretty much get like the bulk of a person's life experiences all on a sheet of paper. I'm like, you know what? Like, I listen to about 20 of your videos and I can tell you some of the things you went through before. Right? Like, there's this one guy I listen to. His name is New Breed Global Truth. Right? Now, I don't necessarily agree with everything he do and say, but I can't sit here and act like he's not a very knowledgeable person, you know? And I first noticed this when I was listening to some of his videos, and I'm like, this guy sound like he's been through a lot of toxic relationships before. Now, I don't want to be the one to say it to him, but like, yeah. And like, the reason I know that is because I have personally. And so I know what people with certain experiences talk like. I know what things stand out to them a lot when they deal with people. I know what they sit back and think about. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's beside the point. But I was going back and researching some of that stuff again, because I have some things going on in my life that's really going to require me to freshen up on those things. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, like, if only I had remembered some of this, a lot of the decisions I made in my life would have never been made. They would have never happened. Dead serious. Like, a lot of the choices I made, I would have thought, like not even once. Like, you know how you think twice about something? I wouldn't have thought once. Like, nope. But at the end of the day, I still believe this to be true. God orders the steps of your life. Not just everybody's life, but to those who he call and save, he orders the steps of your life. If you got a bad decision you made in your life, if you gone too far down the wrong direction, it's a reason why God allowed that to happen. I'm not going to say made happen, but sometime he will walk with you to a dead end. I've seen that happen to me plenty of times before. I'm like, now God, now you knew this was a dead end. Why didn't you? Right now, you tell me about everything else. Now, when it comes to this, you over here, oh yeah, maybe this is a good idea. Let's see what this is like. Dead end. Like, come on. Right, like, you know what I'm saying? It just happened that way. But he do that for a reason. And that is to give you more life experience for when it's time for you to carry a message. If you notice, every prophet in the Bible, they had a certain kind of message they carried, and they carried that message in a certain way. And a lot of times their life experience is the reason why they carried a certain message, right? Like one of my favorite prophets, the prophet Hosea. I mean, think about his life experience and the message he carried, the stuff he went through with his wife. And he carried the message of the gospel just through his marriage. Think about, like, let's just say somebody that's not a prophet, like David, right? David was a shepherd boy, and his life experience as a shepherd, fighting lions and bears, all for the sake of shepherding the sheep, is what helped prepare him to be king. Now, David did prophesy a lot. David got a lot of prophecies about Christ. But his office is not prophet David. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. It was King David, but he prophesied a lot about Christ. But the way he carried out his assignment, right? He had a lot of passion in how he carried out his assignment due to his life experiences. Right? Now, God knew David was not going to pursue being a shepherd of sheep forever. But he still led him there. And sometimes you can't just think that where you are right now is a bad decision, because you probably needed that experience. I remember at a point in time, I was telling myself that it seemed like I was more on fire for God when I was more ignorant about him. And then it's like the more my eyes got open, the more I kind of started going backwards. It just seemed to work that way. It's like the more knowledgeable I got, the more wisdom I got in this, the more I felt like I was losing that spark and that passion. And it seemed like the more time go by, like the more stuck you can get. I'm not even going to say it seemed like that. It is like that. The more time go by, the more stuck you can get. And sometimes the enemy will really use time against you. The enemy has used time against the church forever. Y'all remember a time when all everybody talked about was the end times, preparing for the end to come. Everybody always has something to say about the mark, right? Everybody always has something to say about the Antichrist and everything like that. But it's like, now that we so much closer to it, everybody tired of hearing that. Right? A lot of people wouldn't believe that the mark is right in front of their face, even if you told them. Hey, like, we've been hearing that forever. The enemy used time against you. And sometimes he won't even bring the war to your door until you already tired of just being ready for one. At a point in time in my life when I was young and ambitious and ready to just ride. I mean, I can't say young, it's just 10 years ago. Like, just ready to rise to the challenges of life and be an entrepreneur and defy all the odds and all these other things. My life wasn't yet at a point where all of that ambition and all of that willpower and things like that could be realized. And it's like, as time went by, the more I got put in positions to where I really needed that drive. But because it took so long for my life to be in that position, it's like I needed it and didn't have it. And then you end up down and out and too afraid to even get back up again. And you like, wait, what happened to me? Where did I go? Because this is not me. The enemy can really wait you out with time. But you want to know who can also wait you out with time? God. It's called what? Being patient. Don't ever let what God want to do in your life catch you off guard. Always stay on your guard and ready. It don't matter if you 10 years away. Don't let what God is ready to do, because once he on the move and you out of sync, out of alignment, because you just tired of waiting. And now it's time to get started, and now you don't got the drive, you don't got the spark. Right? You need to go back to the old pathways that help light that fire up under you. You know, I remember I was talking to a friend some time ago, and they said that they used to listen to my channel when my channel first started 4 or 5 years ago, when my channel first started. And they said, like, around the time when I first got saved, it's like the stuff I was hearing on your channel really helped light a fire in me. And I'm like, me? For real? Like, oh, I would have never guessed. You know, I would have never thought that. You know, I don't know how they do it now. I haven't talked to them in a while, but I don't know how they do it now. You know, I don't even know if they still tune into the channel, but I got stuff like that. Stuff that I would study, like some of my favorite scriptures and things like that, that would help light that fire in me. Fan that flame into fire. And it's always good to just go back to them things you thought you learned enough of already. Because some of the times you really ain't learned enough of it. It's a wonder why people can be saved 30 years and they still read the Bible. Still. I read the Bible every day. How can you read the Bible every day? It's the same book for 30 years. You read this every day? How? See, some people can't understand that. But every time I open the Bible, I see something different in the same words I already know was already there. It's like, now you know these words were already here. You already knew what it was going to say. But it's like, now that you reading it again, you getting a different angle from it. You like, wait. Now I see why they said that. Life is like that. Life in Christ is like that. The Bible's alive. And you want to know what else is alive? Not just the Bible, but you know how God used people to preach the gospel and stuff like that? Those words be alive too. Just because some of the people might have passed away, don't mean that the words God spoke through them ain't just as alive as it was when they was here. Right? So I had to start taking some of the old pathways, going back to my 8 years ago sermons I first heard 8 years ago. And I'm like, man, see, now I heard this before, but I ain't know all this was in it. Right now, I heard this 8 years ago, and it's a word in season for right now. Can't believe it. I don't even know what made me click on this. Out of all the engaging content I can click on TikTok or YouTube and everything, some said go back to that sermon you heard 8 years ago. I'm like, let me go dig that up. You know, some of the things I like listening to is Pastor Gary Price from Omega Ministries. I don't even know how I came across his channel when I first got saved. I'm glad I did. So glad I did. And even I got to go back to them old pathways, you know. and start stirring up that gift, man, and let that fan flame in the fire. Because you can find yourself a relic of time, right? Because life will start beating you down. Life will start wearing out your good nature. Life will do something to you that'll make you feel just useless. The people in your life will use you up without mercy. Like you'll be hard pressed to believe that some of the closest people in your life really don't know you like that. The person you sleep next to don't even know who you are. They don't got the same angle of view about life as you do. Some people think that being in a marriage or a relationship is just all about having somebody that make you happy. And you see everybody as who they are. Like whether they make me happy or not. I deal with everybody for who they are, whether you do anything for me. I believe everybody deserve the opportunity to be who they are to me. But everybody don't see it that way. Some people could care less about you, saying they love you at the same time. All you got to do is not give them what they want, and they will dump you in a heartbeat. All you got to do is be off your balance for a few days, and now all of a sudden, they feelings change about you. All you got to do is lose your job and not make the $1 million a year like you used to. And now they moving on to somebody else. Now they loved you and would do anything for you when you was rich. But now all of the money out the way and they don't even, and all they got to see is who you is. Right? Some people get with people just because they look good. You know, I'm not stupid. Like I know I'm a handsome guy. I do. I wasn't born yesterday. And it'd be a lot of women trying to talk to me just because they think that I look like somebody they would like. And I'm like, I would never talk to somebody like you a day in my life. I'm sorry. I just wouldn't. But why? Because I already know what you're here for. I'm not your young little hip hop boy who gonna be grinding on you at the club. I'm not that dude. I'm not your little pretty boy who you can dress up. And I'm not your boy toy either. So if that's what you thought you was coming to get, you can be real disappointed. Plus I'm off the market anyway. So yeah, that's another thing. So dead serious. A lot of people go after people because of what they look like. And then when they come to the reality of who this person really is, they really try to make this person fit in their imagination of what they wanted them to be when all they knew is what they look like. Right? I looked at you and I imagined you to be another version of Lil Wayne. So now I'm going to press you and stress you until you become Lil Wayne to me. I need you to be that version of Lil Wayne that I thought you was at first. And it's like, you don't even know who I am. I'm a man of God. I'm not Lil Wayne. Well, I'm out because I'm not happy with you because you ain't Lil Wayne. Right? Like, that's just an example of what I'm trying to say. And that stuff will start wearing you out, man. Like a lot of stuff will wear you out. Your job will wear you out. I think about all the time you spend doing the work you do, and you never once get to realize all the dreams and goals you had. The next thing you know, 6 months go by, and that perfect idea you had that could have had you leaving your job You don't even know what it is anymore. Like, you just don't even remember what it was. I be trying to tell this to my son. Sometimes I make these videos hoping my son catch it. Dead serious. Cause I mean, see, me and my son don't stay in the same house. And my son 14 years old now. And I wish I could actually see my son every day of his life and pass down him the things that I've learned through life. And I be trying to tell him, watch out for some of these girls, because some of these girls will rip your dreams out of you. Like, they will overwork you to prove that you love them, and come to find out that there's nothing you can do to even make them get it. Some of these girls will make you work overtime just to give them attention. And there's no amount of attention you can give them for them to be satisfied with it. Because once you gotta actually go and start doing what you gotta do, now all of a sudden, like, you just a bad person because she don't get no attention. It's like you could spend a whole month straight with her. The moment you gotta go back to work, all of a sudden she mad. And she hoping that she can emotionally move you around enough to make you fit into what she hoped that you would be. And then you can like you can do what you think is being a good person and trying to settle what people think about you instead of leaving them with whatever they want to think about you. And you can have more days in your life go by still never really getting to the point. Like, you can have years go by and she still don't believe you love her like you say you do. Like, you can buy diamond rings and cars and all this other stuff, and she's like, look, and it can be a lot of women with guys like that. All a guy want is a woman who he can, well, I'm not saying all a guy want, but like, let's just say you got a guy like this, like, right? Like, he just might want somebody who he can just use for sex and keep in the house and all of this other stuff, and peel him off some bread, and you never even really get to focus on yourself. But like, you never even really get to think about you and who you are and what you were put here for. It's like your whole every waking hour revolves around giving this dude what he want. Just to find out he cheating anyway. And now all them years go by that you wasted on just giving this dude what he want. And he didn't he didn't left with your next door neighbor. And now that's time you won't get back. Stuff you started that you could never finish. Every one thing you put your hand to the plow to, somebody got a perfect way to spit on it. Oh, you think you know, about to be somebody, huh? People are like that. I'm not lying to you. It's a lot of people going through that. You know, it's a whole lot of people going through that. It's a whole lot of people who have been through it and came out of it and overcame it, or still pushing through it. Learned how to just deal with it and not let it move them. If you got challenges in your life that make it seem too hard for you to accomplish your goals, or to push in harder toward getting close to God and stuff like that, like, sometimes it's not about getting rid of that obstacle. It's about not letting it stop you. Like, you will realize that the devil would do a lot of things in your life that will happen over and over again the more they work. But then the day it stopped working, to be the day he stopped doing it. Some things will never go away until they stop working on you. So you might think you might go through this forever. But I'm being honest. Some things won't change until you die to it. As soon as this trick don't work on you is when it stop happening. I mean, until this don't work on you is when it'll stop happening. So you can't be discouraged about what challenge you got in your way right now, because it might not always be that way forever. Some things ain't meant for you to get on top of. Some things are meant for you to die out of. See, in life, we want to be the ones to win the arguments, prove the points, put people in their place. But in Christ, most of what is in your way is stuff that you just need to die out of. Don't even let it move you. Don't let somebody's attitude problem get to you. Still do your thing anyway. I guarantee you at some point, like, they'll just quit doing it. Right? Like, don't let your boss on your job overwork you and underpay you. You know, you die out of it. And that can happen in a lot of ways. You just... Sorry, I thought somebody was walking in this house I'm working in right now. I'm like, I hope ain't nobody walking through that door right now. But yeah, it's like you die out of it, man. You find somewhere else to work. Like, hey, I got another job opportunity closer to the house. And, it's like, hey, it is what it is, right? Like, you gave your whole life to that job and all they do is make it harder. Here it is, you work your hardest thinking that's going to get you that promotion and you just die out of that. Like it won't make or break my life if I never get it. I could always go work somewhere else for the same amount of money that promotion to get me. But sometimes we look at the amount of years we spent doing something, and that could be a form of bondage to keep us in a position we don't want to be in, just because of the amount of time we put into it. The amount of time you spent going down that path. You like, this need to work. Now, I've been on this trail 2 hours now. If this don't get me on the right track, I'm going to make it. It's like, it don't work like that. You just need to go back sometime. Back down the old pathways. Go backwards to prevent being left behind. Well, like, it's the common thing in life to always move forward. And that's great. But going backwards is a step forward. Going backwards don't mean being in some lesser position. Going back, you could be in the lesser position right now. And that move backwards is allowing you to see the whole landscape. Whenever I'm taking pictures and I don't got enough in my view, I just keep on moving backwards, and now I'm able to see the whole landscape for what it is, Sometimes that's really what you need, is just to move backward. See the whole landscape. It's not always about, I need to get closer and closer. It's like, wait a minute. That could be a trap ahead. Always trying to have your own will done. That's another thing. Surrender some control to God. All control. And I don't mean all control is that you just sit there and do nothing hoping he move your arms and legs for you. You still got work to do too. But surrender all control to God is like just trusting that he guiding your steps. The ideas in your head, at some point you just got to trust that he know what he's doing with you. And just go from there, Not everything is a matter of Not everything is going to call for being careful. Sometimes you need to go back to that risk taker you was before life let you down. Well, I was a risk taker before and I made bad decisions. It's like, but you was stupid before too. You ain't stupid no more. Now that you ain't stupid, go back to being that risk taker. But it's like after one bad decision after the other, you can just kind of get into a bubble in a way. Yeah, but you armed with knowledge now. You're armed with life experience now. Everybody want to be a risk taker when they're young, and it's like the older people get, the more stuck in their ways they get. Well, this is what's working for me in life. You know, my little teacup, my recliner, my TV. This works for me. It's like, yeah, but at a point in time, you wanted to do this with yourself. You want to do that with yourself, and you're going to cave into a cigarette and a TV. Like, that's all you are, is a shell of a man in front of a TV with a cigarette. At a point in time, you wanted to be a real estate agent. It's like, what happened to all of that? After one failed move after the other, it's like you can start becoming more careful. Start walking on eggshells. No, what happened to that person that was crazy? Sometimes you just need to get crazy again. Not crazy in a stupid way, but just get crazy. Let life know you dumb enough to do this again. But I also believe in this too. Not going back to everything that you used to do. Right? Sometimes you need to go back to the person who was willing to do what you had to do. But you don't always got to go back to what you used to do. I mean, because what you used to do could very well not be for you. But be that same person who was willing to put their all into what they thought was meant for them. Be that same person who was willing to give up everything for Christ at a point in time. And you want to know why sometimes we can cave in to a place in our life to where we ain't always that willing to just give up everything for Christ right this instant? It's because when we realize how much of a difficult road we got ahead of us, sometimes we start thinking that it's really not worth our time. I mean, you might not think about it like that, but you move like that. It's like you gave up everything for. I just mentioned this in one of my in my very previous video. It's like one day you gave up everything for Christ, knowing that Jesus about to just take the wheel. Life is about to be great. I just surrendered my whole life to God, and now it's a living hell. Oh, come on. Right? Like that can make you start holding on to some of your ways because you remembered how much of a difficult time it was to die. And it's a lot more dying you got to do. Salvation is not about just dying once. It's about dying daily. And slowly but surely, the flesh just start wanting to have control again, because you like, man, I don't want to go through the pain that God allowed me to suffer before. I'm just afraid that he's going to do that to me again. Well, honestly, you can feel that way, and you can still go through worse stuff outside of Christ. Just trust that he's raising you the right way. Now, how could you call him your father, but you don't like the way you're being raised? I mean, you can always be a child of the devil too if you want to. I mean, you only got one choice or the other. If you don't like being raised by God, then go serve the devil. I mean, that is an option. You do know you do have that option. And if you don't like the sound of that, right? Like I made that sound all too good, didn't I? If you don't like the way God raising you, just go serve the devil, right? I mean, go join the Hollywood cult and all of that. Go do them blood rituals and stuff like that. Like, you gonna go serve the devil, serve him all the way, right? Like, don't be a halfway child of the devil. Go be all the way for the devil. Like, I mean, you still gonna go to the same hell, right? I mean, don't just go back to the club. Open a club. Make you some money while you at it. Heck, don't just go back to fornicating. Start hoeing. Make you some money while you at it. If that's what you gonna do, I don't want nobody to do that. I'm just saying. Like, if you're gonna do something, be all the way for real about it. And if you don't like the sound of any of what I just said, well, I don't wanna be fornicating or hoeing. Well, then be just as for real with God. If you're gonna come to Christ, be all the way. Be sold out for this. Ain't no point in doing this to be not sold out. God can't use you, and the devil don't want you neither. You know too much about him. Hey, you go back to the devil and end up a laughing stock. Yeah, like, devil ain't gonna trust you. He gonna use you as a weapon against somebody else. And then he gonna throw you away too. Look, most Christians that's never really for real with God, at least for real enough for right now, sometimes is like according to what they think, they always get weaponized against other believers that want to do this for real. It's not worth being halfway with God, because you can be used as a weapon against somebody else that want to do this for real. It's always a halfway Christian that get in the way of a real one. I'm dead serious. It is. Most of the people who has caused me great harm in my life are those who are supposed to be saved. I'm dead serious, bro. I got far more worse experiences out of so-called saved people than I have out of worldly people. Worldly people have done some of the greatest things for me in my life. And they know where I stand with the gospel, but they like, I know you good for it, man. Every time I need you, you here, bro. Every time I need something, man, you right there, man. Every time I ask you to do something, you do it, and you go the extra mile for us, man. Man, I even had you on a couple assignments that wasn't even worth your time, and you still did it just because. So here, man, I'm gonna look out for you, man. Before I give this to one of my friends I can't trust, I'd rather give it to somebody I know is good for it, man. People in the world, children of the devil. I mean, like, I hate to say it that way, but I mean, like, like, they know where I stand with the gospel, and they just like, I don't. See, I mean, it's like, like, the people in the world are by nature the children of wrath, okay? But I word things a certain way based on where I stand with some people, right? Like, when I use the word children of the devil, I really mean them people who has been in my way in my life. And when I use the children of the world, I just use, like, just normal passerbys who still ain't, like, accepted the gospel. That's it. But at the end of the day, you either serve God or the devil. Like, them the only things you can do in life. Like, you can't just be somewhere in the middle. Now you serve the devil. The devil's in the middle, and the devil's on the left, God's on the right. So, right? You either go the right way or the wrong way. And the wrong way is somewhere on the left and the middle. Honestly, I usually see it as God is right in the middle. But it just depends on your way of looking at that, you know. But you can't be in the middle as far as in between serving Christ and being in the world, you know. If you gonna come to Christ, come all the way. Seek him for the Holy Ghost. Aspire to do everything he put in you without holding back. Everything he made you, do it without holding back. Be it without holding back. But what make it so hard is you think that just because you got God in your life, that it's just gonna miraculously happen with or without your effort, with or without your studying, with or without your homework, you doing your homework. A lot of Christians do bad in this world because they don't arm themselves with the knowledge that goes hand in hand with what they want to do with their life. That's why the children of this world tend to not struggle financially like Christians do. Christians struggle financially because they know they got a God in heaven. That mean what? He gonna do it all, right? No, that don't mean he gonna do it all. Like, he'll grant you the victory. You still got to get up and do the fighting. And sometimes we can get mentally lazy just because we know we serve a God who can do anything. And we forget that, well, you still got to do your own homework. It's a lot of Christians on here trying to grow their YouTube channel. I was like this with my YouTube channel. I'm not lying to you. This was me. I would just make my videos. I would just put them out. I wasn't mindful at what time I put them out. I wasn't mindful of how long they are. Most of the time, I would never be mindful of how long my videos are unless they are intended to be a short. If they're a short, it's because the message was supposed to be less than 3 minutes. Not everything I say got to take an hour, but I like to give y'all this hour stuff because that's what I fed on, this hour-long stuff. This stuff I could just pop my earbuds in and get my job done at work with and ain't got to keep picking up my phone to click on new stuff. Like, I would always be attracted to them 3-hour-long videos. Like, I just want something to listen to that can teach me about God. That I can keep my phone in my pocket. I ain't got to keep touching it. I'm a janitor, for crying out loud. The last thing I want is my phone in my hand the whole time. And I don't want to just be sitting here listening to my own thoughts either. You know, that's why I make these hour-long videos. For somebody that might be in one of them positions like I was. Freely I was given. Freely I will give. Heck, if it wasn't for them 3 and 4 hour long church services that they recorded on and put on the internet for free, man, like I could get my Bible studying out the way. I even had a Bible on audio I would listen to. I don't even gotta actually sit at home after my whole burnout is over from working all day and still try and read my Bible after that. I would still read, though. I mean, don't get me wrong, but most of my scripture intake is from audio. Most of it is. Because I can do many things that I just go for a walk and listen to the word of God. Up away from all the distractions of kids at home, and don't nobody call my name until I pick up a book. Nobody. Don't nobody want to talk until I pick up a book. And so I be having to outsmart the devil sometime. And yeah, the devil will use your kids against you. That don't mean they the devil. It just mean that the devil know, hey, go talk to your dad. Right? And any and everybody is, look. Like, you got to have an open mind about the tactics of the enemy. He'll do anything, literally. That's what makes spiritual warfare so dirty, is because he'll use your own loved ones. And they won't even really be meaning that to be evil. It don't gotta be evil as far as what they doing. It's just that the devil is inspiring that for you to not do good, like for you to not be close to God or get back on the right track, all of a sudden, like, you really want to start taking your business more serious. And now you got, I'm just letting you know, we going to my mom's birthday dinner tomorrow. And then the day after that, so-and-so's got a football game. And then the day after that, we're also going out of town to go see my cousin. And then the day after that, it's like the moment you start, like the moment you pick up and really start working toward what's going to have us all set financially, the very people you want to do it for is the ones that jump right in the way. And it seemed to come in the form of seemingly good things, good, inherently good things. It is like that. That's what make this hard, is because most of the stuff that get in your way ain't even bad. And so it put you in the way, like it put you in the position where you don't know how to take it. Like, you don't know if you should be like, look, I could do this that day, but then the day after that, I got to stay home. And then the day you going out of town with your cousin, I can do that. But then all next week, I have to stay home. I don't want to go nowhere. I have to work on this. And then it's like, if you say that, you make people feel like, well, dang, if you don't want to be bothered with me, then don't come to none of it. It's like, that's not what it's for. It's just that because I'm seeing how stuff works, then I have to really create a balance in what I get tied up with because of what is going on. Not just because of what is going on, but because of how everything works that do go on. And I'm not saying this because I don't want to go. It's just that I need to pick myself up right now. And the moment I start doing all that, now you got a whole laundry list of stuff for me to do that really is a good thing if I did. But I got something that's about to make us $1,000 in a day. Like, I got something that's about to make us $10,000 this month. And you would rather me sacrifice that to go to a football game. Like, it's always another football game, but I'm just tired of being broke, and I'm tired of hearing you complain about me being broke. Right? Like, you ain't never had a complaint about me going to a football game. Never. But you always complaining about me being broke. Like, what would you rather me do? What? Oh, I ain't see it that way. It's like, yeah, but you don't understand. Every time I'm in the middle of something important, and I don't even get to spend enough time on the stuff. So it's not like I only care about my stuff and don't care about nobody else. Most of my life gets spent on doing what everybody else want. But the moment I get started on this important stuff, like I got a $700 order right now. Big old 7-foot cross with LED lights in the middle of it. Pop right on the pool pit. Stand taller than the pastor do. Like, now you telling me we got plans for the rest of the week and they ready to spend right now. And this was the first order this was the first order I got since I opened up shop of a few days ago. That's just a few days ago. It's not like shop been open all year and finally somebody called. Like, no, God is blessing this right now. And it's going to take me, what, couple days to put this together? I got to wait for the epoxy resin to cure. How long do it take to pour resin? 10 minutes? Right? I'm going to spend a couple hours building it. Right? Then another 10 minutes pouring the resin, let that sit. And then the next day, I got another 10 minutes of work pouring more resin to let that sit. And that's $700 order. And this is happening now, and it's like the moment stuff take off, now here come everything else. Now please, I ain't trying to be mean, but this is the lot I'm being dealt, and this is how everything always go. I, for once, need to get on top of this and say this as clearly as I can without being mean. I do want to go. I just can't. That's it. See, stuff like that will happen, bro. It is like that. Don't think it ain't like that. Life will work that way. Back to this whole thing about the YouTube channel. Like, a lot of Christians want to grow their YouTube channel. Sometime when I get off topic, I forget to go back, but this time I remembered. A lot of Christians these days want to build their YouTube channel, right? They got a message. It's important to get that message out. But sometime we would just do our stuff and not really be mindful of how to play the game of YouTube, right? Because we say, yeah, like, God's gonna bless the message, and it's like, yes, he is, but he still expect you to study the craft that you're in, right? Everybody want more subscribers and more views, and I was on the side of, well, I don't need the views, I don't need the subscribers, I don't need the this, I don't need the that. I'm just here to do this. And it's like, that's good, but at the same time, if you're gonna spend an hour on this message and you think this message is life-changing, why wouldn't you want to learn how to create the stuff in a way to where more people can hear it? And then it's like, when we don't get the traction we looking for or the action we hoping we get from it, like, then we give up on it. We like, man, this ain't even worth my time. Only 2 people heard this. After all the time I spent on this, it's like, this is an important message. It's like, yeah, all heaven rejoice when one sinner repents. That's a big deal. But at the same time, like, you don't want to be spending hours upon hours for years at something and never see it turn into something. That's discouraging. That's why so many YouTube channels start and stop. That's why I started and stopped my channel so many times. I'm like, this is discouraging. All this money I got put into cameras, and I'm not even using my camera right now. I barely got as much use out of my stuff as I should have. It's like all the money I put into this stuff, and you get 2 views, and it's been like this all year. That's discouraging. But what a lot of Christians do is they get mentally lazy because they know God will bless his work, right? Yes, he will, but he still expects you to study the craft. Like, let's just say you wanted to open up a church. You are still going to take the time to learn how to run a church, right? Like, let's just say you wanted to be a Christian filmmaker. You are still going to take the time to learn how to do filmmaking. And then you also got to learn how to get the film in theater. You got to also learn how to get a loan for the film. Learn how to hire actors. You might even have to be an actor. Now you got to learn how to act and shoot the film. I'm going through that right now. Actually, I think I'd be a good actor, though. I'm not lying. I think I'd be a good actor. But still, like, but then when it comes to something like content creation, especially when you a genuine person and all you really want to do is just do the work of God. Like, you didn't come here to just be some YouTube star. Like, that's not why I came here. If that's why I came here, I would have been studying YouTube from the jump. But I never started YouTube for that reason. I started YouTube just to get the message out. I'm just expecting God to bring people around just because, well, you know, he can do anything. It's like, Man, come on. But you got unbelievers out here in this world that's willing to study long hours and put in the hard work. And then he look at his children. He like, man, look, man, you letting them outdo you, bro. Like, you letting Mr. Beast making stupid game shows put forth the hard work just for somebody to hear a stupid game show. And you can't put forth the hard work for somebody to hear the gospel? Is this even that important to you? Like, is it important to you enough to know how the YouTube algorithm works so that way you know how to post the videos out there? Is it important to you to make sure you use a clear microphone at minimum? Right? Like, let's not even get on editing and camera quality, but at minimum, a clear microphone. This is mostly meant for them to hear the message. That's a bare minimum requirement. Like, do this matter to you enough to do all of that? Do this matter to you enough to start getting into making shorts and things like that? Like, just for the sake of drawing people to the channel for like to hear the message. Well, I don't want to be deceptive, and no, this ain't about being deceptive. Like, do this matter to you enough to create a thumbnail that entice people to want to click on your video? Well, I don't want to feel like I'm tricking people. It's like, but are you though? Are you? Is the message that poor? Right? Is your thumbnail more important than the message you giving? I don't think you doing enough. I think the message of the video matters a lot more than everything. And if it do, then why can't you do all that too? I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. And yeah, but like, let somebody want to make a stupid entertainment channel, right? Like, let somebody make a celebrity gossip channel. Man, they do the hard work. Don't that Bible say, do you see a man diligent in his work, skilled in his work? Another translation, he will serve before kings and not before obscure men. Every craft that I've gotten involved in, I've been very diligent to learn skill and mastery. I'm a master photographer. I can do it blindfolded. And I'm not just saying that. I am. I was diligent. Every day of my life went to studying that. Long hours. Every free time I had away from kids and stuff, I went outside to practice intentionally to get better. I wasn't somebody looking for opportunities to use my camera for. I made them opportunities happen. Diligent. I've done pictures for people you'd never believe. When I got involved in my cleaning stuff, I serve celebrities right now, like to this day, cleaning. Like diligent in learning how to do this and actually taking pride in your work and being the best. Like, you come in contact with people, like they'll come pick you up. Millionaires will come pick you up just for you to get to their house if you ain't got a way there. Because you took the time to actually be for real. And also be a good person. Well, to the best of your ability, you know. And not double cross people, and making sure you stay a trustworthy person. Knowing that your job is more important than anything, really, as far as that relationship go. Like, I'm just here to do my job and do a good job. That's it. I ain't here to be no clout chaser. I ain't here to none of that. And they like you because they know dang well you ain't a clout chaser. You ain't snuck one picture with this person, just nothing. Like, you ain't never bring no drama to their house, just nothing. You're like, see, now that's a dude I like. Like, he ain't a clout chaser. And anybody else would be here. Hey, guess who I'm with, y'all? It's like, I don't care about none of that. I just want what's mine. I don't want what's somebody else's. You know? Be like that. Want what's yours. What's mine? What's my inheritance? I don't want to just sit back and let my life pass me by. Hopes and dreams growing stale and don't even matter no more. All because I make too many excuses, or I'm just sitting too much. I'm not rising to the challenge no more. I'm not that risk taker like I was when I was 18, 19, 21. Life done beat me into submission, didn't it? Don't let that happen to you. Don't let life beat you into submission, because it'll do it without mercy. People will beat you into submission with a smile on their face, thinking they're helping you. People will beat you into submission at the same time crying for your help, beating you into submission, thinking they're doing the right thing. And because you can see how genuine they are about believing they're doing the right thing, it causes you to believe it is the right thing. Nah, wake up. The route to hell is paved with laughter, feel good, feelings, emotions, love, ease, comfort. Man, but that narrow way, you're going to run into spikes and thorns and beehives and all sorts of stuff, cuts and bruises and hot rocks on the ground. You got to go barefoot. You done lost your shoes. And man, the narrow way is like that. But the road to hell is just ease and simplicity. I don't want nothing, therefore I will do nothing. It's like, look, now, from one angle of my walk with God, I live by this. I'm not seeking for anything down here. But from another angle of view, it's like I still want my inheritance. I want what it is God has for me. But I'm not seeking I'm not seeking for it as a way of figuring out how to live here. Everything I want that's mine is all about getting it from God. But at the same time, I still have to do the work. I still got to put on that mindset. And sometimes if you found yourself going too far in the wrong direction, too far, just not the person you once were, take the old pathways. It's not even about unlearning stuff as much as it's about being refreshed on what you do know. It's not about unlearning lies, but being refreshed on the truth you do have in you somewhere. It's in you somewhere. It just needs to be refreshed in your mind. That's it. That's the message today, y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Please like the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna be here almost every day if I can. Today was about to be a day with no video posted. But then some was like, because I just wasn't feeling motivated to make a video today. But some was like, dude, you can't depend on being motivated. Right? You got to be disciplined. Like, you ain't going to be motivated every day. That's your problem. Right? See, first you started off, this is a point. I'm not even about to end the video yet. This is a good point. And I'm glad this is last. This is for them people who stayed the whole hour and some change. You can't depend on being motivated. You can't. Like, you can't just expect for stuff to get popping once you can get motivated. You might not get motivated until you push through just doing it anyway. I've seen this happen in my life so many times. Like, this ain't my first rodeo with starting something. Think about all the things I tell you I do all the time. Like, I think I know what I'm talking about, okay? Now, I'm no authority figure here, but I still know what I'm saying. Motivation is not going to carry you all the way through. Motivation is a good start, right? Like, let's just say you want to start your YouTube channel and you want to preach the gospel and you all motivated to do it. By like next year, you ain't going to be motivated to do it. I mean, look, I give it 6 months. That motivation going to die down. After you ain't seeing no action, no traction, just nothing. Nobody watch your videos. You feel like you talking to the air. Do it anyway. Motivation is not going to carry you through at all. You got to just get up and still do it. And then once you in the middle of doing it, like you going to forget all about the fact that you was just stagnant. Like, I don't feel like doing this today, but let me just do this anyway. Then all of a sudden, God give you the words to say. All of a sudden, you rise to the occasion. All of a sudden, you got the spark to yourself. Man, because discipline is much more powerful. Discipline is much more dependable than motivation. Form a habit of doing it. Right? Because discipline turn into habits. You do know that, right? But you just got to make time for it. You got to make space for it. You got to make room for it. Don't expect to be motivated. That's why so many people give up on their dreams. They give up on what they want to do because they think that they going to always be motivated. And when they realize they ain't going to always be motivated, probably 6 months will go by. Expecting to be inspired. You're not going to always be inspired. That's stuff that come every now and then. But you can't depend on that. Some things you really got to do. That's just pure hard work, not some inspired idea all the time. Like, you can't depend on outer stimulation to influence why you do what you do. But always know this, the Holy Spirit is always able to inspire you. And so that's one thing we got going for ourselves. The Holy Spirit is always willing to continuously inspire you, especially when you use what you do have in you, right? He's willing to fill who's willing to pour out. If you don't pour out, then you wonder why your cup has grown stale. Like, you got to pour out that stale cup. Just get it out the way. If your first product is crap, it's crap. If your first video is crap, it's crap. If your first business sucks, it just sucks. But pour out that stale cup and let God pour some fresh wine in there. Right? Like, let him pour some fresh oil in there. Let him pour some fresh water in there. Man, but you got to empty that stale cup out first. You know? But other than that, now I'm done. I'm so glad I got to that point. I am. But I already said the goodbye speech, didn't I? Well, like, what do I usually say? Peace? No, I really mean peace for real. Like, be at peace. I don't mean peace as in deuces, bye, or none of that. I mean, like, really be at peace. For real. It's too much to do out here not to be. God will give you peace that surpasses all understanding. Through all the trials and tribulations and challenges you got going on, it's almost like this don't even exist to you. It's like, yeah, I know it sucks here, but it don't matter to me. I mean, I can clearly see with 2 eyes it sucks, but as far as it having any effect on me, none whatsoever. None. It smell like cat pee in this house. You think that matter to me? It don't. I can't stand cat pee. And I'm just in here doing my thing. Painting, cleaning. I'm making a video. I don't care. It is what it is. The hand I'm dealt. No big deal. But all right, y'all, man. I'm out now. Peace.